Good morning. My name is Gene Langille, and it is my pleasure to give you a holiday greeting this morning and a welcome to the Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living. So welcome. Secondly, if you have any electronic devices in your possession, would you please put them to sleep? Let them have the holiday spirit all by themselves. Good. To start, I found this quote on Ernest Holmes. He said, "This month we celebrate the birth of him whom we think to have been the greatest spiritual genius who ever lived." And I've been one who has studiously avoided anything of holiday things until the 1st of December. So happy holidays. Yeah. I found something else I thought I'd like to read from the Science of Mind. And it's about the idea of Christmas. And I just felt it was so appropriate to think about what this Dr. Roger Teal from Denver who included this. And it's called Keeping Christmas. There is a better thing than the observance of Christmas Day, and that is keeping Christmas. Are you willing to forget what you have done for other people and to remember what other people have done for you? To ignore what the world owes you and to think what you owe the world? To put your rights in the background and your duties in the middle distance and your chances to do a little more than your duty in the foreground? To see that your fellow men are just as real as you are and try to look behind their faces to their hearts. Hungry for joy, to know that probably the only good reason for your existence is not what you are going to get out of life, but what you are going to give to life. To close your books of complaints against the management of the universe and look around for a place where you can sow a few seeds of happiness. Are you willing to do these things even for a day? If you then you can keep Christmas. And so at this point, it's you can start keeping Christmas by giving everyone around you a warm greeting.
Greetings, Ms. Patterson. Namaste. And the chants will be, the words are there.
Okay, I think Bodie is ready to lead us in the morning chant, so I believe it's on the board above me. So again, good morning, and here's Bodie.
Hey, good morning. Let's all stand up and stretch, because this next chant is really nice to kind of just move very gently in your body. Feel the great goddess flowing through, and Diane's going to teach us this chant. So, and I'll sing a harmony part, so you can find whichever part works for you. So just feel the goddess moving through your body.
Great goddess, I am so thankful to have you guiding me, protecting me. I am so thankful to have you guiding me, protecting me. I am
great goddess, I am so thankful to have you guiding me, protecting me. I am so thankful to have you guiding me, protecting me. I am great goddess, I am so thankful to have you guiding me, protecting me. I am so thankful to have you guiding me, protecting me. I am great goddess, I am so grateful to have you guiding me, protecting me. I am so thankful to have you guiding me, protecting me. And one more time. Great goddess, I am so thankful to have you guiding me, protecting me. I am so thankful to have you guiding me, protecting me. I am. Yeah.
I'm Reverend Karyl Huntley. And I wanted to say to you that when I was visiting my kidlets, big kidlets, last Sunday, my son's girlfriend sings in an Episcopal choir, and so I had communion in an Episcopal church last Sunday, and the sense of being back in right relationship with God was so evident with the people who took communion. And so the prayer this morning is for all of us to open to be in right relationship with life itself. So if you would join me in this sweet practice of prayer. I begin by knowing that there is a harmony that exists in the universe, both seen and unseen. That harmony can never be disturbed, no matter what happens. That is the harmony of God. And it is made up of infinite love and infinite wisdom and infinite guidance and protection, as we have already sang. Infinite well-being and infinite creative potential. It is as vast and beyond as we can imagine. And it is as intimate as my next heartbeat and my next breath, for I am one with that harmony. And as this is true for me, this is true for each blessed being that is with me here today, and anyone who ever sees or hears this prayer. This harmony is the law of my being. And so it is that I do not need to pray for it exists. What I do pray for is my ability to sense my right relationship with this harmony. For me to yield into the harmony. For me to be perfect, whole, and complete within the harmony that already exists. And as I pray this for myself, I open to knowing that every single person in my awareness this morning has that same ability to simply open to the harmony of the universe that already exists and give up anything that is in conflict with it and step into the harmony for our beautiful, precious well-being and connection and goodness. This is my prayer this morning, and I am sure that it is answered. I release this into that law that makes everything so, and so it is. Amen. Yes. So good morning once again. We have as our guest artist today Diane Patterson, who is a folk goddess, a holy woman, a talented singer, an opener of hearts. And so just let that be the truth for you as we welcome Diane Peterson. Did I say that right?
Patterson.
Diane Patterson, another clan. Diane Patterson.
I met Diane a few years ago at where did we figure? The Mystic Festival. We had mutual friends, and I saw her play, and I said, "You got to come share your music with my people." And she came here once before, and then right now she just came in. She's been touring Europe, and we're on her way tonight to a gig in Willits. And, she's here to share the magic of the spirit through music.
That's what I love to do. This is called Choose the Long Road. I guess the theme this morning is yielding. So the song says letting go. And there's also a lot of images of connecting with spirit in a beautiful Sufi tradition kind of way, with the whirling dance and calling spirit the friend. I brush my fingers on the lute. For me there is no substitute. that held me in a golden cage all went up in flames. Now I'm alone on this road like a wild horse, galloping from fire to fire. No one can claim me. I'm a smoldering incense, burn me up. Just a subtle essence, just some ashes in the cup, letting go. Letting go. There's so many songs, so many voices, so many roads that they can seek the holy ones. There's so many songs, so many voices, so many roads that they can seek the holy ones. Choose the long road. Choose the long road. Choose the long road. Choose the long road. Let me I throw down my heart on this spot, giving every ounce of all I got like a holy grail. Fill me up, deliver me well, sacred cup, drink me up, to the foot of your altar, to your holy symbol straps, to the dust that lives and flurries by your sacred obedience. So many voices,
The order of service has changed a little bit, and it will be throughout December, because we are honoring an ancient tradition of Advent. It's called Advent in the Christian church. It was called waiting before that. And we wait for the sun to return. And we have our 4 red candles on the altar, and they each represent something about the earth. And so today, we actually are honoring the earth herself and the waiting for the sun to return. So here's the words up here, and the children are going to come forward and put some stones on the altar while we sing this little sweet song.
One little candle lighted on a wreath, the earth below prepares to glow. One little candle lighted on a wreath, the earth below prepares to glow. One little candle lighted on a wreath, the earth below prepares to glow.
What are they learning today?
At Thanksgiving.
Oh, wonderful. Have a wonderful class and teach your teachers.
Good morning. I'm Michael Hart, and I'm your practitioner this morning. And we'd like to begin. We'd like to. Oh, I thought I usually held it closer. I guess it's just that Christmas spirit or holiday season getting me all excited. So we'd like to begin with gratitude. And I went to the Huntley and Bulgaria exhibits this week at the De Young. And the Bulgaria are all these jewels, and they're set in this dark setting, so they're like these lights in the darkness. And one of the lights in the darkness in our community is those families who are willing to open their homes to the rest of us. And so today we're giving gratitude to the Walker family for opening their home for a glorious Thanksgiving dinner. Thank you so much. And what reminded me of the Bulgaria exhibit was that I ran into them there, amazingly enough, on the same day in the same place at the same time. And another light in our community has offered to hold a Christmas dinner at their house. There are no sign-ups yet, but the Austins are going to be hosting Christmas dinner for those who would like to join them this year. And as you can see all around you, we are having our Christmas bazaar today. So look all around the center. There are tables of people in our community offering things to our community. So be sure to shop. We have in between the Small Business Saturday and the Cyber Monday GGCSL Shopping Sunday. So there you go. And it'll be next week too. And don't forget to bring your Christmas lists. And also on the 21st, on Solstice, we'll be having our traditional Solstice service. Come early and bring friends. It begins at 7. It's bound to sell out. And this will be the best Solstice celebration ever. We'll bring back the traditional favorites and also introduce a whole new theme as we do every year. We're also going to be doing a very special Christmas Eve celebration on Christmas Eve night at 6 o'clock at the Learning Center there. So we'll be keeping, again, some of the favorite parts of the Christmas story and lots of carols. And Reverend Karyl's son, Michael, is going to perform for us a piece. And Reverend Barbara Leger is here from Ukraine to talk to us a little bit about our sister community, brother community.
Brother, sister.
Welcome, Reverend Barbara.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Hello. I am really thrilled to be here with you. I just got back, and I have a message. We've decided that after 12 years, we'd really like to get to know each other. So Reverend Karyl and I have cooked up the Partnership Corner. And so on the first Sunday of every month, there'll be 3 minutes to share some news about our partnership with each other. We'll do it on the first Wednesday. You'll do it on the first Sunday. And over there in Ukraine, we came up with some of the qualities that we think are really wonderful for good partnerships, effective partnerships, juicy partnerships. And so here they are. Commitment, respect, openness, support, communicative, reliable, curious, available, expansive, joyful, compassionate, and in the flow. So those are our 12 themes for our Partnership Corner. And just as life does, it just shows up perfectly whenever you're ready. One of our practitioners called me this week, Nastya, who many of you know because she was here with us a couple of years ago. And Nastya now lives in Israel, and we're starting a little Science of Mind study group in Israel. Imagine that. That's amazing. So we wanted you to know. Also, Jane Roach's cookies arrived just in time for Thanksgiving for the 12th year in a row. So God bless you, Jane Roach. And so Nastya's questions are in the theme of curiosity. I just want to say that this whole program is set into a context of a brand new context of ownership in Ukraine. We have just taken the hugest step ever into ownership. And you know that ownership creates ownership. And we have made an offer, been accepted, and are in the purchase process of our new office. It's very, very big, wonderful, wonderful step. So out of that energy comes this energy of partnership. So Nastya asks us, how many practitioners in Golden Gate are making their living full-time as a practitioner? She's a practitioner. She wants to know, how does it work? And how is it working? So how many make full-time living as a practitioner? How do practitioners serve in the community? And are there any firm rules about what we must do? Or not do, maybe. And so I'm building a little team to work with us on the Partnership Corner, and I've got 2 recruits already this morning, so I'm doing great. So Jean and Sean have agreed to be part of the team, and each month we're going to work together to share information. So we'll be sending the answers to those questions, and Sean will be sending to us your questions answered. So thank you so much, and I'm so happy to be here. And there's great gifts from Ukraine in the bookstore, and I'll be with you in January for a talk and a workshop. And blessed be.
And the last thing I have to share with you is that we will be having classes beginning in January. The sign-ups will be starting next week, and I'm turning it over to our beloved spiritual leader, Reverend Karyl.
Wonderful. Just to piggyback on what Reverend Barbara said, there are beautiful greeting cards in the bookstore and a wonderful calendar with photos if you'd like to take one home for next year. And to piggyback on the bazaar announcement, there is someone that Mrs. Austin, Elizabeth, knows that always sees us on the camera. And this person is downsizing and so has brought lots and lots of brand new things that are being sold. So how fabulous is that? That's so great. So the other announcement that I have is that next year I'm going to be bringing to you what I'm really good at, and that is creating ritual. There's going to be a drop-in class approximately once a month that will talk about a kind of ritual. We'll do the ritual, and then we'll talk about how you can take this ritual into your homes, into your jobs, into your families, and have it be a wonderful addition to all of your relationships. And the first one of those is the first Friday of January, and so it will be something about winter. And so I hope you come. It's a drop-in on a Friday at the church office. And lastly, you Capricorns, woohoo! Your party is the 14th of this month at Sue Ruta's house, and we'll be talking about that some more, but everybody's invited. We just lift up and tease the Capricorns mercilessly. So those are the announcements. Now we're just going to move into the message part, what I want to share with you today. You know, our theme for the year has been this right here, the New World and the Ancient Path, and we just have one more month to go in this theme. We already have next year's theme, so we're going to move right on into it at the end of this month. But the theme for December is mystery. because mystery, to me, this dark time is all about the mystery, especially when it's before the solstice, because out of this darkness comes the rebirth. It's a message that there is never an ending, really and truly, in our life. Things may cycle away and cycle to us. They may look different when they come back, but there's never a hard ending. And that's really, really nice when you think of the mystery that we call death, because to me, it is a doorway that we walk through into the next expression of life. And that's the message of solstice. It's not birth and death. It's birth, death, and rebirth. And so this period in waiting for that to happen is precious. And so the word for today is yielding. And it's really the message of winter, because we actually must yield to the cold. We can't ignore it. Especially our ancestors could not ignore it. When the cold came, they had better have been prepared for it, or it was, pretty bad. I have a funny story to tell you about a new app that I have for my phone in relation to winter. Yahoo Weather is a fabulous app because it gives you rotating Flickr photographs of the towns that you put into your weather thing. And so I put in the towns where my children are and the towns that I like, all of which I'm very familiar with. Eugene and Miami and Santa Rosa, San Rafael, and I put in Athens because I like Athens, and London and Edinburgh. So I'm very, very familiar with this band of weather around the cities that I like. And so I thought, I'm going to add a city that really has different weather. And so I started to type in Anchorage, but I misspelled it. And so, of course, when you misspell something, they want to help you. And so they offered me this town that I had never, ever heard of, Yangaray. So okay, we'll try Yangaray. Yangaray is in northern Russia. That is about as north as you can get before you hit frozen water in this time of the year. Yangaray, the high yesterday was 1, and the low was 0. And there was blowing snow. So that's really different. They don't give too many pictures of Yangaray because mostly it's snowing. And so I'm thinking that these people know how to yield to winter. And that if they did not know how to yield to winter, it wouldn't go well with them. In fact, I was just in my own internal life, which is quite humorous, I was imagining this Yangararian who was just going to resist winter and wear summer clothes. Well, it wouldn't go well with him to do that. Without yielding to winter, with trying to control circumstances that are beyond our control, does this begin to sit in any of your consciousness? We have all kinds of problems. The altar is a sweet, sweet example of the difference between yielding and control. Sandra Agarabede made this for us, and this display here is the control of the cage that we put ourselves into, but the door is open. We could yield to this beautiful scene on the outside, which this little birdie over here has done. And notice how everything flourishes when we yield to what is. So we're going to talk about this yielding versus controlling, which is I'm making light of it because it's difficult for a lot of us, especially when I show you the principle of today, which is not my will, but thy will be done. This is a hard one for us in religious science because we think, and we do, we speak our word and expect it to be so. We work with the creative law and we say what? And we do. That's in the classes. We say what it is and expect the universe to make it for us. But most of our prayers then, at least at the beginning, turn out to be what we want instead of what we have, not how we can change to become a different person, to be more harmonious with life itself. So this saying, it is from one of the Gospels where Jesus is in the Garden of Gethsemane and knowing what's to come and is saying, please take this cup from me if you can, but in the end, not my will, but thy will be done. And it reminds me of the anthropomorphic God, which I rail against as well, who doles out punishment and answers some prayers and not others, and the God of the Old Testament who is expected to be obeyed. And if it's God's will, we're supposed to obey it, right? That's where I come up against this. And yet, when I read it again and again and again, it says something about the power of yielding and not controlling. And when I am in my willful place, I fail to see the bigger picture. And so, like I do with a lot of quotes from the Bible that I don't like, I rewrite them. And I try to have the biggest meaning for them that I can embrace. It's kind of like my embracing of communion when I was in the Episcopal Church. It's hard for me to think of it as the body and blood of Christ, but it's easy for me to see people willingly get in right relationship with God again. And so that's how I translate verses from the Bible and practices from other religions that don't sit well with me. So I might be doing this all wrong, but this is how I have rewritten this Bible verse, 3 ways. What wants to happen here? Another way is, what path might hold the greatest good for the most? And another way is, what is the vision of my life that flows with the greatest joy and usefulness? And we can even think of Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane and phrase it that way. In the biggest picture, what wants to happen here? Is it for me to escape? What path might hold the greatest good for the most? And what is the vision of my life that flows with the greatest joy and the greatest usefulness? The greatest joy for the most people and the greatest usefulness for using my life in the world. And when we answer those questions, we kind of presuppose that there's a greater wisdom, and it might not be my limited understanding right now, especially when I'm in fear, or especially when I'm in resistance. There might be a greater wisdom than I am capable of seeing in my condition. So can I yield to what wants to happen, to what is the greatest good, and what is my greatest usefulness? Now, if you would ask a controller those questions, they would say, no. I've got the picture of what's going to happen, and I'm going to make it happen. That's what a controller does. And it's not just me. Come on, we've all been there. And a controlling personality, when I'm in my controlling personality, or when I'm trying to work with someone that has a controlling personality, it's the hardest work that is done spiritually. Because the controlling personality, the controlling way of being, wants to control even release. And they say, okay, I'm going to release resentment. I am going to release resentment. I am going to release resentment. And that yielding, which is what we're talking about today, has no chance of happening. And so I want to help all of us today with this yielding, precious, gentle way of living with what is. So we all are in that controlling place when we're in fear, when we lack the faith, or when we're in desperation of any kind. It's like, give me relief. I think I can figure this out. Let me go for it. So this is what happens when we are in our controlling place. Being a controller means, first of all, we hide. We hide because we don't want to show our unfinished places. We don't want to show our unskilled places. We don't want to show that we don't have it together every single moment of every single day. And so we try to control that way of showing ourselves so that we appear that everything's fine. But of course, when everything isn't fine, then all of those unskilled parts of us slip out sideways, and then we really can't control it. Then things are really a mess. And so next, what happens when we're a controller, it means we find it difficult to relax. Why? Well, because we're always hypervigilant. We're always watching to see if something's coming in that doesn't fit our picture. And if something comes in that doesn't fit our picture, we want to nail it, we want to find it, we want to fix it. And we go after it, right? You all are kind of looking at me like, come on, this came out of me, so I'm just sharing my place too. Being a controller means we are inflexible. We cannot even try on another reality, somebody else's reality. If somebody offers us another idea, we have no way of saying, that's interesting. Let me see if I can kind of step into that possibility. No, we've got our way of looking at things, and that's it. So a little aside story here. I love the way my life informs my talks. So when I was in Miami over the holiday, my son, who is an opera conductor, took me to the current opera that he is the assistant conductor for, which is Morning Becomes Electra. Now, Morning Becomes Electra, it was a Eugene O'Neill play, and before that, it was a Greek tragedy, a complex, long story of many, many generations, culminating in Clytemnestra and Agamemnon, if these mean anything to you. But the deal with the Agamemnon house is that everybody was unskilled in some way. They were jealous. They were cruel. They were betrayers. They were murderers. They were dysfunctional in every way that you could possibly imagine, having sex with all kinds of inappropriate people, including family members. And so this original Greek tragedy was translated into a play, then translated into the opera. And of course, all of these people this is the majesty of Greek tragedy. When you're sitting there, everything makes sense. It's like, well, yeah, they couldn't do anything else. They couldn't do anything else but that. They made that bad choice, but given everything else that's going on, they couldn't have done anything else. And so all of these people, except one in the family, had blinders on and were going for what they wanted. And they all died miserably. Electra in the Greek tragedy, Christine in the modern opera, is the only one that said, okay, I yield. She was also miserable, but she didn't die. No. It's really a true tragedy. And so that feeling, that Greek feeling that you have when you see agony of this proportion, it's like you leave and you go, oh my goodness, my life is so great compared to that. And so that's the feeling you have. But the point is, every single miserable person in this story had their blinders on to do the only thing that they knew to do, which was push harder, and they all died. The lesson, of course, is being inflexible brings us to an awful lot of pain. Being a controller also means we force things to happen. We use so much energy to make something happen, and then the results are not what we want when we force it. And finally, being a controller means we have a limited relationship with Spirit. Because our relationship with Spirit kind of is we say our prayers about making something happen and then we take over. And we are with Spirit for a little tiny bit in making that prayer, and then we just take over ourselves anyway. So what would work better is to be like water. Water is the relational element on earth. It touches everything. There is never, ever a conflict with water. It just flows around. It just flows around. And so when you, and in flowing around, it actually shapes the world. When you look at these stones up here, these stones have all been rolled in the water, and they're smooth. There was a staff minister when I came here, and before I was here, Reverend Noel McGinnis. How many of you remember Reverend Noel? Oh, look at you. A lot of people remember Reverend Noel. He wrote a poem that is actually pretty famous. It is all over the internet, and I want to read it to you because it is exactly about non-resistance. It is exactly about yielding, and it is called Flow. Be as water is, without friction. Flow around the edges of those within your path. Surround within your ever-moving depths those who come to rest there. Enfold them, while never for a moment holding on. Accept whatever distance others are moved within your flow. Be with them gently, as far as they allow your strength to take them, and fill with your own being the remaining space when they are left behind. When dropping down life's rapids, froth and bubble into fragments if you must, knowing that the one of you, now many, will just as many times be one again. And when you've gone as far as you can go, quietly await your next beginning. Oh, isn't that just a balm to your soul after all of this hard stuff? So let's go into developing a yielding nature and what that brings us. So first of all, and I'll refer back to the problems that this solves, we get connection. Instead of hiding our unskilled places, if we show our unskilled places, we invite others to show their soft and unskilled places, and we develop compassion for each other, and we experience connection rather than separation. Next, developing a yielding nature brings us peace. And so instead of living in hypervigilance, instead of looking everywhere to see what might be against us, we yield into non-judgment, and what we get is peace. And in fact, a couple of years ago, our theme saying, whenever anything happened that we thought wasn't what we wanted, what did we all say? How fascinating. How fascinating. Now, how yielding that is. No judgment, just how fascinating. Next, we get compassion. Now, instead of being absolutely inflexible, if we yield to another's position, even so much as just trying it on, let's say we just try on this new possibility, we then get compassion for one another's positions. Next, we get comfort. Instead of forcing anything to happen and everything to happen, when we yield to what wants to happen, we find ourselves in the harmony of the universe, which I prayed about at the very beginning. We come back into right relationship with all that is. And we're comforted. We are comfortable, comforting, and comforted. And finally, we experience oneness. When we are in right relationship with Spirit, when we focus on what wants to happen, when we ask for guidance for the greatest good for the most when we pray for how we can change to be more useful. We, instead of doing it our way and absolutely going devoid of any experience of Spirit, we take Spirit with us into every single thing. Because when we keep asking what wants to happen here, what is the greatest good for the most people, how can I be the most useful, our answer always comes from Spirit. So, connection, peace, compassion, comfort, and oneness. Mo better than controlling all the time. And if you can't be like water, I have another analogy for you, and that is to be like a floater on the water. It's easy to kind of feel like we're not letting go of something, we're letting go into the universal substance. We're letting go into that universal wisdom and love. So this comes from a book by Polly Baron Behrens, Coming to Life. And she makes this analogy of floating. Let go and let God, but let go how? Trust what? Actually, we know more than we think we do. Anyone who has learned to float has had realizations of oneness. Anyone who has learned to float can recognize the primacy of consciousness in floating. Letting go is not enough. It is not enough to spread your arms and legs out rigidly or relax limply. When you float, you consciously feel after buoyancy. This is not just physical. It involves awareness. Attention has to be paid. Once we learn to float, if we ever lose our oneness with buoyancy, we notice and immediately seek to recover it. And so, letting go into God is not giving up. It is seeking harmony for what is. It's letting happen what wants to happen. And this is what the lesson is for winter, for me, is yielding into what wants to happen. So as we go into the inner work, I have one more reading for you. And it's not an exact fit because it talks about ego. I haven't really talked about ego today, but if you have a controlling personality, you are sort of poisoned by your ego. And so this is a poem by Hafez entitled Castrating an Ego. The only problem with not castrating a gigantic ego is that it will surely become amorous and father 100 screaming ideas and kids, who will then all quickly grow up and skillfully proceed to run up every imaginable debt and complication of which your brain can conceive. This would concern normal parents and seekers of freedom, and the local merchants nearby as well. They would very easily become forced to disturb your peace. All those worries and bills could turn into wailing ghosts. The only problem with not lassoing a runaway ego is you won't have much desire to sing in this sweet world. And so if you would join me in this sweet world on the inside, and perhaps bring to mind a condition in your own life that you have wanted to control and not yield to. Maybe something that is a little or a lot fearful, where you have trouble trusting. And in this moment, I turn to those wonderful questions. Truly, what wants to happen here? Truly, what path might hold the greatest good for the most? even if it seems like initially it's not the greatest good for me. Truly, what is the vision for my life that flows with the greatest joy and usefulness? Because even though I love being comfortable, I really, sincerely want to be useful, the most useful. And so I ask myself, can I allow what wants to happen? Can I yield to it? Can I let it happen in God? Can I yield to the whole bigger situation that is filled with light and love? Oh yes, I can still look for joy. I can still sing. I can still envision my own fulfillment. But may it be that I stop breaking myself in trying to force my own will, which is always the will of limited knowledge when I have to force it. May I float in God's great sea, the sea of joy and peace, and touch fingertips with other floating beings who are also supported in God's great, beautiful, joyful sea. May I yield to what wants to happen. This I ask for ultimately my own greatest good and the greatest good of all around me. Blessed be.
That spans to every holy land. Let there be love and light, and we'll wander through those swinging doors where wild birds can then fly through to me and you. Where wild through those swinging doors to me and you. Let there be love and light. Oh, build a bridge. This is holy land. rocks and bones and simple things that stack and hold, like memories of loving times and words that kindle and inspire. Oh, build a bridge of eagle wings and condor eggs and fragile things, just strong enough to hold us well, so we can all still break the spell, so wild birds can then fly through those swinging doors to me and you. Let there be love and light. Oh, let there be love and light. Oh, build a bridge. This is holy land. You can sing this with me. Build a prayer. Build a prayer. It's all holy land. It's all holy land. Build a bridge. Build a bridge. This is holy land. This is holy land. Build a prayer. It's all holy. It's all holy lands. Build a bridge. It's all holy land through the pilgrim's eye, where every rock and tree's alive. It's all holy land 'cause we're waking up and every drop is in a sacred cup. It's all holy land. It's all holy land. Build a bridge. This is holy land. Build a bridge. Build a prayer. It's all holy land. It's all holy land. Build a bridge. Build a bridge. This is holy land. This is holy land. Build a prayer. Build a prayer. It's all holy land. The soul has come through the jade screen to wander in this world of dreams. It's all holy land. Holy land.
Thank you. Thank you. At this time, would the ushers please come forward? And as we prepare our tithes and offerings, just stay in that thankful place of the most recent holiday. I'm sure we all had a wonderful reminder of the blessings in our life, and may it be that this community is truly a useful blessing in your life. And as you give to it, it strengthens the community so you have even more to love. So just take your gift in your hands and know that giving is the natural state of everything created by God. giving of its essence, giving of its nature. And so we give of this symbol of our life force called money to sustain that which we love. So I give thanks for all of the beautiful gifts this morning, and so it is. So would the ushers please receive the gifts?
Whole and complete in God, I am whole and complete in God. 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 So I give thanks for this offering. I give thanks for the sweet hearts that give of their resources, their love, their service each and every week. We are so blessed, and so it is. So I want to encourage you to shop and have fun and meet someone that you've never met before. I want to take this opportunity to welcome back people I haven't seen in a long time. You know who you are, and I want to hug you again if I haven't already hugged you, and come back next week. So would we have the prayer from Michael, please?
And would the practitioners please come forward? These practitioners are giving of their time and expertise to you here today to pray with you after church if there's anything left that needs a little more attention, celebratory or in need. They give their time to you freely, and with the rest of the practitioners, please surround us and hold that high consciousness. Oh, and as I sink into the awareness of that high consciousness, I invite all to join me in spiritual mind treatment. One infinite unfolding perfection, one golden light, one soft fog, one falling rain or snow, one warm or cool body of water, one life, one infinite good unrolls, unfolds, expands, expresses. This is all it does. Infinitely know itself, its own perfection, in new ways. And I am one way that the infinite has known itself, has become, has entered into a new beingness, here and gone in a blink, and yet eternal, as me. And as I know this for myself, so I know it for everyone within the reach of my voice. Each one, the light, the fog, the rain, the snow, the unfolding perfection, the infinite harmonious good of life itself becoming right here and right now. And each one available to the infinite abundance, power, freedom, creativity, love of that which knows only good. And so if I know this, if I know that there is only one, and that its nature is that orderliness that I see evidence of every day, and that from that I glean its abundance, its power, its freedom, its love, then there is no reason not to yield to it, and so I do so now. And I claim for each one within the sound of my voice that opening to the influx of good, to the knowing of power, of freedom, of joy, of abundance in a new way. Not that it has never been there before, but simply that each one in this moment opens to aligning with it, to embodying it, to knowing it in that biblical sense, to putting it on, to yielding to the ever good, to the ever flowing, to the ever knowing, to the all knowing. And in that yielding, allowing, not limiting by our human conceptions, but allowing a greater good, a bigger power, a more joyful flow. And I celebrate this. I give thanks for that in each one that is willing to be willing, that is willing to step into that knowing that life is for us, that the universe knows only good, that order will prevail. And I release this, my word, to its law, to that law of mind that always and forever leaps forward at the chance to express as the perfection which is all it knows. And so it does now, and so it is. Amen.
So if you would all please stand for our affirmation and closing song. Right up here. I let go into God. I relieve myself of trying to run the universe, even my small part of it. I yield to an infinite love and an all-encompassing wisdom. I trust that the desires of my soul are fulfilled in perfect, mysterious, and majestic ways. Blessed be.